There we go. Jeremy Means, what's going on, man? Ronnie Cox, the Rocket. You're tuned into the show that informs, entertains, inspires, and promotes motorsports everywhere.
Welcome to Winnig Wednesday on Northwest Racing Forum.
Tonight's show is brought to you by
Miller Kitchen and Bath, Bailey General Contractors, Myers Floor Covering, Welch's Gun Shop, and Flaming Pig Barbecue.
And by the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval. And by Leonard Evans, Used Car Superstore. And by Product41.com, Atomic Screen Printing. And by BLG, Blue Line Graphics. Be unique, stand out, get noticed. www.blg.blue. And now, back to your horsepower performance hosts, Terry Bridges and Glenn Lippy Tower. Oh, what is going on, racers? What is happening? Welcome to another edition of Winnig Wednesday here in the Northwest Race Report. I'm your horsepower performance host, Terry Bridges. We are back again for another week. Hey, got a cool show for you tonight. What's up, Rocket? Brandon Rutledge, Shannon Hensley, Kevin D. White, Team 31, baby. Jeremy Means in the house, too. I'm glad he's here because I need to talk to him about getting him on the show. We've been doing our promoters deal, so I want to get Jeremy Means and Heather Boyce on the show here in the next couple weeks. But tonight, a couple things I want to let you know. Tonight, we're having our show. Obviously, it's on April 1st, April Fool's Day. Hopefully the iRacing deal with the the World of Outlaws, went good. Our guest tonight going to be Matt Drager, Willamette Speedway standout. He's a bodybuilder. He's an excellent bodybuilder, car bodybuilder. And we're going to be talking to him tonight a little bit about dirt racing, about Willamette, what's going on with the modified stuff. It's going to be kind of cool. I haven't talked to him in quite some time. He used to race with his dad, Brian. But, yeah, it's going to be cool. But just to give you a heads up, starting today, we're going to go the first and third Wednesday for the NWRR. Late Model Monday will stay as it is since we're kind of in the season, but the NWRR is going to go the first and third Wednesday. So, we'll be back on the 15th of April, and then we'll be back May 6th, May 20th, June 3rd, June 17th, so on and so forth. I'll put a schedule up so you guys can follow. That way, I just don't want to burn everybody out on every single week when there's really not a whole lot going on. Loader, that's my line. Yeah, the Loader he's at home. He's chilling. What's up? Zorro Jimmy, what's going on? Kelsey Pease, Mike. Oh, man. EJ Jr., what's going on, man? Mike Hunter, love it. Travis Henson, man, I got some champs here, baby. Love it. Ken Legault, Phil Pence, Jason Gibb, what's going on, Gibber? Gibber's going to be with us on Sunday night. You guys got to tune in. Hey, Marvin Christie Schultz. Kelly Probes, what's up, BA? Blue Line Graphics, baby. We're going to do some history of karting deal, and Jason Gibbs going to be my guest on Sunday. So we're going to kind of take it from where Phil Fowl left off, from 78 to 2000. He broke out his 20-year stash or 30-year stash or 40-year stash of Carter News. So it's going to be really cool hanging out with Jason Gibb and chatting some old school speedway, maybe a little pavement, but he's old school speedway, man. That guy won 5 Tulsa drillers. Now, if you're a speedway guy, you got to know, you win 5 of those bad boys, you are truly a stud. I mean, those aren't easy. That's kind of like anything. I mean, you win a driller. Back then, it was huge, and it was so competitive. Ralph Woodard and all kinds of studs, Bill Hilger, all those guys from way back then. It's going to be super cool to kind of talk to Jason about that and get some updates and talk about all the cool stuff. You know, he and Ronnie Cox, the Rocket, used to battle out at Oakwood quite frequently, as did probably a lot of guys battled with Gibb. I know Phil Fow and Jason Gibb were arch rivals, but man, you had there was just so many tough dudes back then, and I'm trying to think of the guy's name. Oh man, it's right on the tip of my tongue too. He ran duels and stuff against Fow too. Is it not Archer? But he was fast, super fast. Gibb will tell me on Sunday, I'm sure. I hope everybody is safe and sound. You know, my head was spinning earlier today. Zombie killer, no kidding. What's up, Josh Haskins? Hey, you guys, Haskins Tire Treatments. You need to check him out. He can hook you up and get you. Reginald Gill, what is going on, man? Right on. Hey, what up, Uncle Chucky? Man, don't be sorry you're here, man. I need to get you on the show too, but I'm just kind of going crazy here because I don't really have an outline. But I just want to let everybody know we're going to go first and third Wednesdays for the Northwest Race Report. Late Model Monday will stay as it is. I got to give a couple of shout-outs here. I picked up some new sponsors who helped me greatly. Stimpy's Bar and Grill, Steve Seiler up in Kent. They're doing some big remodels there, so when you get a chance, stop by there and have a Stimpy burger. I guarantee you they're awesome. Just tell him the Northwest Race Report sent you. He'll hook you up. I got to thank Jared Sessler from Sessler Motorsports. He contributed a little bit to help keep the show going. I appreciate that greatly. And, of course, Joe Constance from Joe's Race Products for hooking us up with a subscription to Speedway Illustrated and CC Racer magazine, which a lot of times we get content and stuff for the show from that. So very, very helpful. Thanks to all those great sponsors. And, of course, Brian Esquinia from BLG working on the new website. Wait till you guys see it. I'm telling you, it's close. I know I've been saying that, but it's close. It is going to be so awesome. I just can't even tell you how awesome Brian Esquinia is. So if you guys need a website as well as T-shirts or wraps or whatever, man, the guy is a genius designer, guaranteed. So not the cheapest, but you don't get the best when it's super cheap. So check him out, man. He'll hook you up. Tell him the Northwest Race Report sent you, and Late Model Monday, he will hook you up. I don't know if you guys saw the coloring page he made for us for Late Model Monday, but I put it out there. Hopefully we get some designs back. I'd like to show some of those on the show one of these nights when we get them back. It's a side view of a late model. So if you got your favorite racer or you want to design one up for gotta be cool for iRacing, you know. Design one up for Northwest Race Report or Late Model Monday, or your favorite racer, it'd be super cool. And lastly, I want to say, what up, Albert Patterson? Quack, quack, gobble, gobble. Duck turkey, keep up the good work. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Brent Meyer. Hey, Brent Meyer's painting a flag, and it is awesome. I couldn't believe it, man. That guy's a hand letterer, too, as well as a great tuner. But you do not want to miss Monday night's Late Model Monday. I'm going to tell you right now. If you know anything about late models, my guest it's incredible. Dave Fuge is going to be our guest on Monday night. It is, I'm telling you, it is a no-miss Late Model Monday. And if you know anything about late models, or if you know anything about chassis building, period, you know, ask Uncle Chuck Crothers. Dave Fuge, without question, should be in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the best car builders the Northwest ever had. He built cars for the greats, Ron Eaton. I mean, you know, Garrett Evans. I mean, he's built cars for just about everybody. Chuck Flora. I mean, name it. Dave Fuge has done it. So he's going to be our guest on Monday night. A whole hour with Dave Fuge. We're going to have some history. We'll talk about chassis, what he thinks about all the new stuff. I mean, I'm just stoked. I'm just super stoked to have Dave Fuge on the show. It's just going to be an honor. What up, Mike Easley? What's going on? So Matt Drager in the house. He's going to be our guest. He's going to be calling here at about 15 after the hour. Looking forward to talking to Matt. He said he was nervous, but I told him, man, just get yourself a cold beverage and and go. Hopefully he can update us on the World of Outlaws iRacing deal, because that was going on at like 5 o'clock, I think, our time. Chris Gibb, what's going on, Gibber? And so it's going to be awesome to see what happened. You know, the other cool thing is this weekend, I think, on Fox Sports, they're going to be live. I mean, this is going to be really good. If you like the iRacing from like Texas and I don't know, where were they? Was it Talladega or somewhere? They're going to be at Bristol. Now, you tell me, I think that's going to be off the chain. Oh, Steve Sharpley, what's going on, man? Sharpley's the tire guy for Uncle Chuck's Racing and the Rocket Ronnie Cox. Good to see him on here, man. The guy works 24/7 at UPS, so he's out there, and he's here on the show. I love it. Thanks, Sharp. Good to see you, bro. It's going to be super, super chill. So, Bristol this weekend. I don't know. Some people say iRacing, yay or nay. I say yay. I don't know about you guys, but I say I love it. Robert Summerhalder in the house. What's going on, Robert? There it is. Oh, Matt Drager, what's going on?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Not much, man. I'm excited to talk to you, dude. So, hey, first of all, bring me up to speed. What happened tonight in the World of Outlaws iRacing show?
Yeah, that was a pretty cool deal. They Fox Sports got involved with a bunch of the World of Outlaws, both on the Sprint Car Series and the Late Model Series deal. Got a bunch of the regulars as well as some NHRA guys and Kyle Larson, and they got those guys running now on TV. It's pretty cool to see some dirt track racing, even though it is just, iRacing, but seeing the dirt track represented on Fox Sports 1, one of the big sports channels, really hoping it, leads to a little bit more exposure for the sport.
Yeah, you say, well, it's just iRacing. Man, I'm telling you, I watched last weekend, I think they were at Texas on the pavement, right? The NASCAR guys. Dude,
yes, sir. Yeah, I think they were.
Dude, it's hard to tell. It's really, the sound is, it's hard to tell. If you were to just look at that really quick, it looks like the real deal.
Absolutely, man. It's a legit simulator. I've got to play with it a little bit on a friend's account, and it's the closest thing we got in the wintertime to actually getting out there on track. So I think it's great to see the extra exposure for the sport, and I really hope we can see some late model stuff.
Yeah,
on the big sports channels.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, I don't know this. I'm just thinking, but what a great avenue for them to. This is the perfect time for them to kind of get that break that they needed, right? Because iRacing's a big deal all the way around the country, right? It's not just late models or world. It's karting, it's Formula One, it's Indy cars, it's all kinds of cool stuff.
Absolutely. It's everything. And, you watch, let's say, like NBA games, or you see on PlayStation or whatever, you see your NFL games, and those are, I consider those a push and button game, right? Like, you're not going through the motions of the game. But iRacing is a simulator, and most of us can get on there if we have the chance. And you race against guys that you see on TV that you read about every week, running the big series. You get to run against those guys, replicating the real motions of the sport. So it's an awesome deal. I really hope it does good for the sport. All eyes are on it. NASCAR got great ratings when they did it, and hopefully the dirt stuff follows up. Yeah, dude.
And let me just say, people might look at that and they go, oh yeah, you got a wheel, whatever. You just go, man, it's hard. It's not like it's easy.
Oh no. And Cup stuff, I'm sure those guys, they were turning left the whole time, right? You see the onboard stuff of the guys around the World of Outlaws, and they're turning left, they're turning right. So hopefully that shows a good show for the fans. Get a little sideways action. We had guys up against the wall in the late model, some sprint cars too. Great exposure.
Yeah, it is great exposure. Now, are they done, or are they still running right now?
No, they're done. Went from about, I think, 5 o'clock to 5 or 10 after 6. Sprint cars ran a 35-lap feature. Late models brought it with a 50-lap feature. And both were pretty good shows.
Who won the World Outlaws deal? Do you know?
Christopher Bell won the sprint car race.
Ooh, wow, sweet. And do you know who won the late models? Oh, wait, let me guess. Brian Drager. No, I'm kidding.
no, but I have seen him run on. I have seen him run on iRacing, and let me tell you, as soon as we got him sat down, there was no getting him out of the chair.
Yeah, he was pretty good. He was pretty good back in the day, boy. Let me tell you. But
oh yeah, and he's no slouch now. He's just got a different role.
That's cool, man. That's super cool. So let's talk about Matt Drager, man. I've been following your stuff, on Facebook, and you're like the body guru, man. I mean, you've got some really cool. I mean, and it's not just cool looking, but it's like antiseptically done, man.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I've been building bodies now. I mean, started doing my own stuff back when I got into the modifieds in 2012, and it's just kind of grown. It's a lot of the reason I still get to race myself. So I've done a lot of modified stuff, got to do a few late models in the last few years. And this year we're busting into the stock car stuff. So the steel body, Monte Carlos and stuff. We've got 2 customer bodies I've been working on for the Monte Carlos. And then my wife's car is going to be following up shortly. So it's cool to be branching out and doing a little bit different stuff.
Yeah. Got to give a shout out to my man, the Sliver, Johnny Blair. Man, that guy, I'm telling you, well, you wouldn't know him, Matt, but he's a hell of a go-karter. He's one of those guys, you give him that's why I call him the Sliver. You give him just a pinch of daylight and he's in there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Sliver, Johnny Blair. Brian Morris, what's going on? Tyler Homestead, what's going on, everybody? Hi, Lori Fuller. So, man, let's I wanted to talk to you about that. You were talking about the steel bodies, the Iron Giant deal. But before we jump into that, what is going on with Willamette? I mean, I heard the lights are out, and I mean, I heard it's like a done deal.
I wouldn't give it that. I wouldn't go that far yet. We've had a couple promoter changes in the last 2 years. Obviously the Arnolds built that track. Shrams bought it and ran it for a few years. Last year we had a new leadership group in, and I don't think that probably went as well as anybody hoped for. So that they're out, and we got Lauren Cruz. He's working with the Shrams on that deal right now, and Lauren is putting in a ton of work. Can't thank that guy enough for what he's doing right now. He's really working with the city and a lot of the marketing partners of the track to repair and heal a lot of relationships.
Yeah,
and you hear all the rumors you want, and we're not racing, so everything's not peachy, but I got to have faith and support him because he's working his butt off to give us a place to race. I mean, I grew up out there. We're going to support the deal. And I just got to trust, choose to trust and believe the best and get my stuff ready like we're going racing.
Yeah, man. I mean, let me just tell you, I was there from 90 to like about 2000 or whatever. And man, I mean, when I hear that, man, I was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, because that should be like a national monument. You know what I mean? At least here in the Northwest. But I mean, was any of that true? I mean, because I'm hearing reports of the bills aren't getting paid, or they had to tear up from the street to the track because of the, something to do with the water or the electricity. And I've heard the lights are out. I mean, where does it all kind of stand? Or do you know?
I'm not going to make assumptions. Because that does nothing but hurt the situation, good or bad.
I get that.
And I mean, I know they missed a couple races out there last summer due to some issues, but they were back opening and running 2 weeks later. So obviously, Jerry and Jimmy Schramm, they put a lot of money into that facility. Mm-hmm. They're smart business guys. They're not going to lose it. They're behind the track. Lauren's behind the track. I talk with Lauren probably every other week right now. Just seeing what's going on, how I can support what's, that kind of stuff. And he's got a passion for it. I mean, we all do. We're all racers.
Absolutely.
If we didn't love it, we wouldn't be doing it. And I can't imagine the work that goes into promoting a show. I mean, if everything goes great, you just did a good job. And if anything goes wrong, you're the racers, worse than me. Right.
Yep.
So for those guys to be taking on the task that they are, especially Lauren, and trying to bring our our sanctuary, back to life, or not back to life, I should say, but just keep it running. you got to support those guys. So he's doing a great job. I'm behind him. Can't wait to see what happens and get out there. We've got a lot of stuff going on in the world with coronavirus and this and that right now. Just got to trust the good Lord that he's got a bigger plan. And when things are sorted out, we'll get back to life.
Man, I love hearing that. That's a fact. So, I got to go do a show. Heather they couldn't make it. The regular, I think Ben was doing something else or had a sprint car show or something. So I went down there and filled in to one of those Iron Giant shows. I don't know if it was as big as it was, but it was they had 50 plus cars there. I mean, that was a hell of a show.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a couple pretty good, I'll call them stock car, street stock type series going on in the Northwest right now. Chris Sign and James Whitehouse with their Iron Giant stuff. They've put together that touring series, and it's done great. Watching them run, all up and down from, I think they go as far south as great as Guayrica and as far north as Grays Harbor. Throw in Roseburg in there on the asphalt to get a little diversity in the tracks, and they always seem like they're great shows. Got that group going, and then Kevin Roberts leading the charge with the IMCA stock car stuff. Last year they had their first season with it at Willamette and Banks.
Yep.
And there's guys building cars, man. Let me tell you, you see guys building cars. We're building the brand new one for my wife. See guys bringing cars back from back east, and we're getting a lot of interest in them. I went from doing no stock type bodies in a year to I've got 3 of them this year. So that group's growing. And it's awesome racing. The cars are so close that it seems like no matter where they go, they put on a show.
Yeah, but now these things are anything. I mean, at least from the sound of it. I mean, guys are telling me, oh yeah, they're getting $20,000 in these things. Whatever. I mean, and I'm going to street stock. I mean, are you kidding?
It's no jokes. The car that I'm building my wife, it's your regular GMG body. Hers is I believe an 84 Oldsmobile Cutlass. A lot of Monte Carlos, but when you start looking at the parts, man, it's every bit the same as my modified. They don't have a quick change, and we've got a little different motor program, but when it comes down to the shocks and the seat and the ignition system and you just start adding it up, and they're every bit the same about in a car as what we're running in the other classes.
So, Matt, I mean, honestly, man, now I'm not trying to poo-poo the thing at all. I'm just saying, how – I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I mean, the sportsman guys back in the day, at least from what I remember, and I know things have progressed, but, I mean, how do you justify a street stock for $20,000? I mean, why not just take that money and put it in a late model or you know what I mean? I mean, because
I hear you, but as the age-old saying goes, is how much does racing cost? Everything you have, right? You can put together a car and run less, but if you keep running the class, you're going to go for that little extra, and you're going to go for the low friction this and the lightweight that. Next thing you know, it doesn't matter what class you're running, you're spending money on quality parts.
I know, and I chuckle not because I don't love it. I mean, well, okay, let's go back where I can remember. The same thing was in the super sports, right? That was supposed to be basically it started, a stock clip and iron motors and no aluminum and no quick changes, and well, we saw how quick that went out the window.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? I mean, it was crazy. I remember the first year I did. I think I had a Chevelle clip. It was big spring car, load bolts. I didn't have there's no coilover eliminators, or I had the little rubber biscuit third link. I mean, it was nothing. Even had it was like it wasn't like a true truck arm, but it was it was all wrecking yard stuff. Yep.
And now you look at it, the modifieds are more advanced. Stuff's just coming forward. It's knowledge, and knowledge costs.
Right.
Look at your shock technology, and all of our front ends on our cars in any class you're looking at are getting so far refined. The front ends are getting better. They're steering better. Our corner speed is up, other than when we had sideboards probably. And even then, sideboard cars weren't any faster than our guys are now without them. We're just close. The technology is come so far. And, as much as it hurts, technology costs money. It's not as simple as throwing a big piece of Lexan down the side of your car to make grip. We're all making grip, but it takes a lot more work to do it now.
So, okay. So now I look at those cars now. I watch them, and I go, holy crap. How do you see anything? I mean, you got the left front hiked up 8 miles in the air. The thing's complete. I remember when I was running, I mean, I used to hate that feeling of it sinking that far off onto the right rear, but I don't know. Now it's almost like if you're not doing that, you're not fast.
Oh yeah, and it's gone through cycles. I mean, you talked to my dad. You mentioned him earlier. Back then, it was got to have all 4 tires on the ground, and then went through a time, let's say late '90s, 2000s, where everyone had the tire left front a mile in the air, right? And now we're to the point where guys are tuning with that, and when they pick that tire off the ground, playing with shock heights, and when you hang that weight on the left side, it goes in big cycles. But like I keep telling my dad, every time that cycle goes around, we're starting to do it with a little bit more knowledge and data behind it, not just seat of the pants. Yeah, there's a lot of seat of the pants feel to racing still, but a lot of it's we're putting numbers behind that.
Mm-hmm. Now does your dad give you the old, hey, we used to walk 10 miles in the snow uphill? I mean, does he give you that stuff now when you talk to him about stuff?
Oh, at times, absolutely. There's been several times where we talk about, just if we knew what we knew now back when he was racing, how absolutely different things would be, right?
Right.
If we would put the spring behind the rear end on a late model on the left rear in '93 instead of when Garrison Arp did it in '98, you set the world on fire. So there's all that stuff. But getting to race with him is so cool.
Oh,
and
I'll bet.
Him by my side through it. It doesn't get any better than racing with your family.
Well, and Matt, let's make no bones about it. Just because he came from that earlier time, I think once you understand it, right? I mean, he might be set in his ways a little bit, but that isn't always a bad thing. Do you think?
Oh, no, absolutely not. It's a fresh perspective, right? So, I was born in '89. Most of my memories from the track come from the late '90s and newer. There's a lot of experience before that I completely missed out on. So having that extra perspective in the shop or in the pit area is huge. And he's putting in the effort to learn the same stuff I'm learning. We've gone to 2 different chassis schools together, and he just went to another one this winter. So he's putting in the homework to make sure he stays up on the new stuff, but he also has got that, wealth of experience that I just, I don't have.
Right. Yeah. I do that too. I mean, I find myself going, man, what are these guys doing? I mean, it's like, but honestly, but you're right, because I looked at, I remember, well, for example, and this is no dig on him at all, because he was one of the greats ever at Willamette, was Bob Jeffrey.
Absolutely.
Right? And, I mean, right? We all can agree. I mean, the boy can drive.
One of my heroes.
Oh, man, dude. But yet he took that break, and he comes back, and all of a sudden it's like, it's almost like he can't get out of his own way, right? I mean, that just shows, and that's no dig on Bob. I mean, he's still a hell of a driver, and probably would be if he wanted to spend the time to get back and get that knowledge. But that's how quick it changes.
Oh yeah, when him and Gil came back and put that Super Sport together a couple of years ago, I mean, you saw flashes where you said that is 100% Bob Jeffrey. I remember, and then you saw other nights where it just wasn't there. And I think a lot of it's just the cars have come so far. Talk about the old days where you'd run a car on Saturday night on the dirt, and then you change it all over Saturday night or Sunday morning and go run pavement the next day. And our stuff is so specialized anymore. You just don't get that. The window to be on is so much smaller because the knowledge is there. It's tough.
Yep. And the other thing too, I think, is now, I mean, not that they weren't back then, but the fall off was bigger, right? You look at the outlaw guys, right, and you might have you'd have 8 or 10 guys who and 5 or 6 of them really had a shot. The rest of them, I mean, if on a good night, if they hit it right, they'd be there. Now it seems like, boy, you got 10, 12, 15 guys that could probably take the W just being there.
Yeah, and you're really seeing that a lot more in the modifieds right now. Just the way kind of car counts have gone the last few years, late models are a little bit down on the dirt side here in the Northwest. But you look at the modifieds, and being on the IMCA rules, Great Motor's got an advantage. So we've all got the same motor. Shocks have come so far, and chassis technology. It's pretty common to look at the field and half of them or more have a decent shot at running good that night.
Right. And it didn't always used to be that way. I mean, you
No.
like I said, you might have 6, 8, 10 guys, but even that 6 to 10, I mean, they were going to have a really good night. It was that top 5 where you went, well, I mean, it's whoever gets through first or whoever doesn't, get in a mess. Mm-hmm. They're pretty like Bob. I mean, how many nights did you watch him go from, 24th to
mm-hmm.
1? I mean, made it look easy.
You watch those old tapes with Bob, Russell,
yeah,
Tesh.
Dude, you're killing me. I love it.
Johnny Schuler, those guys where good chance you knew who was going to be up front at the end of the night.
Absolutely.
And I still pop in those tapes, and it's the same names. It's good stuff.
Bob Boyd.
Mm-hmm.
One of the great. Yeah, man.
Darren Koffel and Russell. I mean, the oldest videos I have, Darren Koffel's still in it, and he's still out here racing every day. It is awesome.
And is still a stud.
Oh, absolutely.
Still a stud. Yeah, Koffel
and one of the best sheet metal guys around.
Yeah, he was special, man. He was special. No doubt about it. And I will say this too, Matt. A lot of people don't know. Bob Jeffrey was a hell of a fabricator.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't know him, me having spent the time with him, I mean, he was one hell of a fabricator.
Yeah, the last late model my dad ran was like a 7/8 scale Rayburn that I think it was Wayne Felch and Bob Jeffrey built 3 of them.
Yeah, man.
And those cars were fast. That was back in the V6 days, right? No
Yep.
weight limit in the late models.
Yep.
So those things were built light and they were built fast. Great cars. I remember it was sometime when I was in high school. I wanted to start helping Bob, and my grandma and his wife at the time, Diane, were good friends. Went up there, and I could not touch his car until I proved myself in the shop. Right? Meticulous. You knew this. You were around.
Mm-hmm.
I spent a night or two just making sheet metal plates to block shavings from getting under his drill press before I could ever touch the car.
Yep.
But it showed in the quality of his car. Right?
Absolutely.
That's how he approached everything about his program.
Without question. And tires too. That year that we made, I think it was like 19 out of 20 dashes. And we were in the top 5. We hardly ever didn't finish in the top 5. I mean, it was an amazing season. I think it was like 01, and we ended up winning the title. That was back, I don't know if you remember, but it was kind of back when you couldn't. They made it so we couldn't use hand signals, right? Mm-hmm. So you couldn't.
That was right after the radio stuff.
Yes. Well, yeah, and it was stuff like Bob. He used to do cool stuff like he'd leave the antenna on and leave the wire there. We wouldn't have radios in it. We just left the antenna on. So everybody thought we had one in, but he just loved to play jokes. I can remember one that was like super awesome. Everybody wanted to know. And this was back during that time when, everybody went to the Rayburn. They had the green spring in the third link. That's what you ran everywhere. And when we used to say, man, what no way. So we bought an AFCO, one of the double double springed ones, and we moved it way over to the left, right? Because that's kind of what everybody's just like, let's try picking it up over here instead of over there. So everybody wanted to see what we had. And that's back even when, they would put the little curtain on the back so you couldn't see.
I remember him having a cover over his right tire so you couldn't see.
Yes, we built a little plastic thing that went around the third link so nobody could see. So when we were unloading out of the trailer, dudes like Jamie Van and some of those guys, they'd come over and they'd go, they try to get a peek while we're, because he had to winch it out of the trailer. And so Bob says, watch this is going to be great. So we built a plastic thing around the third link so you couldn't see what we had. And as soon as we started to inch the thing out with the winch, everybody was over there like they were going to get a peek. And they couldn't see anything. I don't know. That's what I miss about, some of that stuff was just the jokes. Like he would go over there. I remember I came into the shop one night, and dude, on the rear halo on the right side, he had, dude, I don't know how many chunks of lead he had on there, but I'm thinking, I'm going, what in the, what are you doing? And he goes, tap them. So I take my finger and it's tink, tink, tink. They were empty. He just welded caps and he made it look like lead. And everybody, they'd come over and look under there and they go, geez, look at all that lead he's got on the right side. So the next thing you know, everybody'd have all this lead on the right. I mean, it was crazy.
Yep. Bob was a master of not just going fast, but he was a master of playing the game, right?
Yep.
There's more than just what you do on the track. When you start playing the game and get guys second-guessing their stuff, second-guessing their own abilities, copying you've got the race. You're a leg up by the time you get to the track if they're doing that.
Yeah. And he used to tell me, I don't care what people think I know. I just want to know what they know. And I always remembered that because I thought that was super cool. So people come over and say, hey, what do you got for springs in the back? Blah, blah, blah. And Bob would say, well, what do you got? And the guy'd say, oh, I got this in the left front, that in the right front, and we got this, and this shock in 94, and Bob would say, yeah. We're close. The guy just tells him everything he's got, and Bob didn't have to tell him anything, right? I mean,
yeah.
So does that game still go on today, like down there?
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure you got all the smoke and mirrors you've ever had. Some guys are different about that stuff. I probably don't hold things as close to the vest as I should from a competitive advantage, but with my with the GRT thing and my parents' dealership, I try to go and help as many guys as I can. So you got a lot of games, but I love being able to tell someone exactly what's on your car, and you still go out there and outrun them.
Jeremy Mean says, ask Matthew about any bodybuilder inspirations from back in the days when everyone did their own cars. And the old outlaw packages.
Darren Koffel.
Yep.
It does not matter how far back you go in those videos, that car was always clean and always well done.
Yep.
Obviously, Bob built some clean bodies. He was meticulous. Russ had some wild stuff, but I like my stuff to be. You can drag a finger anywhere on my car, and no edge is going to catch you. And to me, just Darren's stuff always screamed that.
Yeah, he was good.
But I still love building a wild winged car.
Oh yeah. Well, remember the Leo Libas and some of those guys, the old posse guys that used to come in there. Oh my gosh, dude. I mean,
it's hard to beat a full-length sideboard.
It is. It's. I mean, you probably learned a ton about bodies just having done it. Because I look at some of those mods now, and I'm thinking, man. I mean, look at even the little opera window deal. That thing's bowed way out. I mean, all that is just crazy to me because I know it's all there for a reason.
Yeah, we're put in such a small box with our rules. I mean, there's a dimension or several on every body panel. So the good guys, there's never a mistake. I won't say never a mistake, but there's never a panel that's not built without reason, right? There's a difference between a guy that throws a body on a car and it goes to the racetrack, and you can tell the difference between that and a body that's got some thought into it.
Amen.
Not just from building a car that you can maintain well, whether the panels come off quick and easy with a couple tools so you can get in there and maintenance your car, maintenance is a big part, performance is a big part, longevity. You can tell a difference. It's pretty clear.
Right. And I know you probably got to scratch your head, right? Because you look at some of that stuff that rolls in and you go, okay, somebody looked at that and said, all right, man, we're ready to go racing, right?
Hey, to each his own. If, I've been there. I've said that a few times, but if you saw my car at Speed Week when we rolled into Willamette for the finale last year, I had rolled the car 2 days earlier. We had a rough week, and the last night we ran dual features. Every single time I came off the track, I had 4 guys doing nothing but putting more rivets in my quarter panel and deck. Literally, it fell off the car every night on the track. So as much as I like to say, oh yeah, I've got it handled, there are times you just don't have it going on.
Oh yeah, I get it. I mean, when you're doing that Speed Week deal, hey, it's whatever goes. I mean, and those are the guys, those are the ones you love where you got the MacGyver, right? They just know how to get stuff done. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Just, hey man, I'll be honest. One of the best nights I ever ran, I forgot my toolbox.
Whoa.
Yeah. I forgot my whole toolbox. Got in there, was in a hurry, got a flat, was just panicked. And but it was one of the best nights I ever had. Because I couldn't outthink myself. I couldn't really touch it, even if I wanted to.
No second guessing and making that extra change.
Absolutely. And how many times have you done that and went, man, I shouldn't have touched it? More
than I'd like to admit.
Absolutely, man. That's the thing. I don't know, man. We talk about the history and the new stuff, but I think you'll agree with me that there are some things that are just still stock car 101. It doesn't matter whether you were from in the 90s or now. Like one of the things you just said is maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if your maintenance program sucks, you're probably going to suck.
Absolutely. I mean, I admit it with my own program. We've got we're doing more and more customer work, and you can tell, looking back at the last couple of years, the weeks that I had customer cars in the shop and my stuff sat, because there's a drop off in the results.
Right.
And that's one thing I'm trying to really get ahead of this year when we have this extra downtime, is make sure I got my stuff sorted out now, and try to take on a little bit less stuff in the summer, because you got to be focused on your cars. You can't go and work on your stuff one night a week and be competitive at this level. Really at any level in the Northwest right now, everything's so competitive. Like I was talking about those stock cars, all the cars are so good, so much closer, that the little stuff is what matters. And taking the time to do that, it shows.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And the days are gone. I don't know if you remember, like my father-in-law, Larry Sauce, and, there was a few other guys. They would show up there by themselves. Those days are gone. You can't do that anymore.
No,
I don't think.
It's tough. When we set out to do Speed Week last year, it was my dad and I. And there's been a lot of races where it was just my wife and I going racing. It still happens, but with all the stuff we do now on, working on the cars throughout the night, keeping tires fresh and ground up and stuff, it is tough to show up and be a one-man crew. Honestly, if I got 3 or 4 guys in the pits, it's my better nights. And a lot of it's just taking the driver and giving them time to decompress a little bit, not jump straight out and go to work on the car, but actually think about what I'm doing, and have that couple moments to breathe and move forward with the night.
Right. So any overlap between the history and what you're doing now that you can see? I mean, at least from what you can remember. I mean, guy, you tell me you were born in 89. I'm thinking, God, I am old. But, I mean, is there anything that you can see that kind of overlaps from maybe back when your dad was doing it, and that you find yourself kind of thinking in those same terms?
Well, I mean, you got plenty of history. A lot of the names are still out there, second or third generation. But then also a lot of the patterns, right? Like, so you bring up Bob Jeffrey, and he had those years where he was so dominant. And you still get that now with guys like, let's say, Joey Tanner and the late models had a couple really hot years. Bryson James and Colin Weinberg in the modifieds, few really hot years. And it goes through its cycles. And right now those guys are on top. But there's plenty of guys behind them that can drive as well. So as far as as knowledge, stuff that carries down, these race cars still come down to 4 rubber patches, right? And how you make them work. So we might be thinking about stuff in a different way at times, but it all we're all trying to get the most out of those 4 patches, and that hasn't changed.
Yes, amen. Gosh, I love talking to you, man. This is so cool. I mean, just because you can kind of remember and go back there, but I mean, well, I know back when we were doing, one of the most natural guys ever was Dick Bosshart.
Oh yeah.
Right? The guy could drive anything.
And his son can do anything in a cart and not race one for 5 years and still be fast.
It's crazy.
Bossharts are just like that.
Yeah, they've always been. Dick Bosshart, definitely one of the greats. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Without question.
Absolutely.
So who were some of your? You said Bob was your hero, but who were some of the favorites that you remember from back in the day?
Like I said earlier, if I watch the early videos, which the videos we have are 90 to 93, right? It's Bob, it's Darren, it's Russell, it's Schuler and Sprague and those guys. Obviously, my dad. Growing up, your dad's always your hero, right?
Oh, absolutely.
When your dad's racing, which is your favorite thing in the world, he is always number one.
Right.
Then, you get older where I start actually remember going to the races. Jerry York.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So you still had Russ, you still had Bob, Jerry York, Bob Jeffrey, right? Bob Boyd, the Boyd brothers.
Yes, I can. Man, we used to have wars with them, man. Matt, there was a time when I was telling you we couldn't give hand signals.
Mm-hmm.
So we would try standing shoulder to shoulder. So if we stood real close, the guy was right on him. If we stood far apart, they caught on to that. And there was one night they made me go stand by the inside snack shack. Told me if I left, they were going to DQ Bob. I had to watch the whole rest of it. I think it was 50 to go, and I had to watch the second half of the race from the snack shack because they said we were giving them signals.
Right.
Dude, it was just crazy cool. I don't know. It's just, I go there now, and it just seems so different than it was back then. You know what I mean? Because, it seemed, I don't know. Back then it was, there was a lot of rivalries and stuff like that. But, my God, I can remember myself being a super sport, racing, and Randy Boyd, I broke something. Randy Boyd says, come on. And he jumps, puts me in the truck, drives me to his shop. We fix the thing, come back, and, he's over there helping me put it in my car, right? It was just cool stuff like that was, it seemed like it was going on all the time.
And I hear the stories of that stuff happening back in the day, but that stuff's still happening now. Talk about guys doing stuff. Colin Weinberger and I, we race hard together at times on the track. Medford 2 years ago, you go out of town racing, and it doesn't matter how hard you guys race on a weekly basis. When you go out of town racing, everybody's a team, right? We went down to Medford, and I think I transferred from a B main, but ended up with a puncture hole in the radiator. That whole crew and my brother, my dad, and all of Colin's guys, including Colin and his dad, we're on my car changing a radiator in 9 minutes from checkered flag to green flag. So that stuff still happens. It's just different. It's tough to see some of the spotting games that are going on, but you still get them all. And you learn guys' mannerisms, and I might spend as much time watching someone else's brother or dad on the fence as I do watching my dad, because those guys good enough. Mm-hmm. You can tell what they've got going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's got their own game.
Yeah, I get it, and I do, and it's probably, I guess when you're really involved in it, You know, like
Mhm.
I'm not quite as involved as I was, but I mean, so yeah, I guess kind of from the outside looking in is a little different from the inside looking out. So
Absolutely. It's about perspective. And when it's what you do, week in, week out, you see those intricacies that you don't get from a 30,000 foot elevation view.
yeah, for sure. So now, you do bodies. Do you do bodies for the IMCA stock cars and the Iron Giant series too, or is it more just the modified stuff?
I'm doing it for everything. So the stock car and street stock stuff that's grown in my body program this year. Like I said, I got 3 cars in here now, but I got a lot of modifieds, IMCA modifieds, IMCA sport modifieds. I get a late model here and there. With my parents running their business and their GRT dealership, we get a lot of people coming through. So I'm doing a little bit of each, a little bit of everything. And it works out for both Drager Performance and my program to be helping each other out with customers going back and forth.
Yeah. I just got to ask you if you remember this. Do you remember Tim Debbin's 427 Leaf Spring car?
I have to admit, I don't remember that.
Oh,
but what year? What year?
I don't know. That was probably 90. It was probably 93. 3 or 4,
So,
92, 3 or 4. But let me tell you, you have never.
I hate to tell you, but I was between 3 and 5.
Are you kidding me, Drager?
No joke.
Dude,
I love the old stuff, but I was a little too young to remember a bunch of it.
I'm telling you, man, you have never, ever, ever seen something go forward like that car did. Tim Debbin was an animal too behind the wheel. I mean. Super Sport was almost just as tough as the Outlaws back then. I mean, I'm sure it is now. I mean, it took us a little while to get caught up, but yeah, man. I mean, dude, you just brought back a ton of memories, man. So we're if people want to go and they've got a modified and they want to get a body and all that stuff, how do they get a hold of you?
All right. Well, for like the body stuff and my wife and I's program, we have MNK Motorsports on Facebook. Like I said, I do a lot of my modified stuff through there, recognizing my marketing partners. Also show off a lot of the work we're doing through the body stuff. My wife coming up through that, she's run a Hornet the last few years, and we're building her a stock car or street stock now.
Yep.
So that's great place to go for that. Reach out through there, hit me up on Facebook, Matthew Drager. But then, like I said, Drager Performance, that's my parents' business. They're GRT dealer as well as just parts supplier. So direct with Weir's machine, great, a lot of your bolt-on parts for your full-size cars.
Right.
Quality second to none. So really, we're trying to become more and more of a full-service shop. Dad's got the jig set up for the GRT modifieds and some of the late model stuff. Does a lot of repairs there. Does a lot of just general maintenance on people's cars, off-season maintenance. Stuff like brakes and changing out bushings and greasing your wheel bearings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that kind of work. So Drager Performance has a Facebook as well. Got the phone number on there. Reach out to my dad or mom on that. We've got a couple avenues, and it's a little different right now with everything going on.
Yeah, well, sure it is. Yeah,
but we're still busy, right? Racers are going to keep finding that edge. Guys that were behind are still working on their cars. I'm still way behind on mine for this year. So we're business is popping. It's a good time.
So now, when are the IMCA stock cars? I mean, and actually, do you have any idea when even do you have any idea when you're hoping to get 4 tires in the dirt and get them rolling?
I think right now the biggest thing is just waiting for this coronavirus and the state and national rules to clear up a little bit. Mm-hmm. We've got several tracks that are ready to get started right now. We've got tracks that we're ready to start doing test days, even private track rentals before the latest crackdown from the government. So I think you're going to see, as soon as stuff gets lifted, Cottage Grove and Banks are going to be ready for private track rentals and racing. And, hopefully Willamette's not too far behind. I know I'm hoping to have my stuff done probably about a month and a half, which right now I don't think that's going to be too late given all the rules and such. But it's been a growing year for us. We bought our first house, and I had a bit of a medical setback this winter, so we're behind on our own stuff, but we're getting caught up on everybody else's so they can go play.
Yeah. Hey, a stud just joined in. How about John Campos? That dude can drive.
Absolutely. Get the privilege to race with him a lot, and let me tell you, there's not a guy that'll run you harder and that you can have more fun with than that guy.
That's pretty cool, man. That's a hell of a compliment. I mean, I think that's the ultimate compliment you can give any racer is that right there.
Absolutely. And John's just one of those guys that he's a racer's racer, right? He works his butt off so he can go out there, and he leaves it all on the track. Mm-hmm. And there's been times where I've wondered, how the heck can I do what he's done? I remember 2 or 3 moves that he's put on me that left me scratching my head a little bit.
Yeah, but he might be a few years older than you, right?
I think he's got a few years on me, but I'm kind of in that middle stage where I got a lot of racers in my class older than me, and then I got a lot of racers in the class under me mm-hmm. in age. So it's kind of a middle ground.
Yeah, man. Dude, I can't tell you how awesome it is to be able to sit here and talk to you for an hour. Would you do me a huge favor?
What's that?
Tell your dad I said hello, because I mean, although we didn't race a ton together, it was still an honor. I tell everybody this. It was an honor to be in and doing that back in that time. Mm-hmm. I'm so glad I grew up in that era and got a chance to do it then. And I might be bugging you because I want to see some of those old tapes because I want to watch me. Oh.
Absolutely. I got some good ones. Talk about one particular with Darren Koffel, Jeffrey, and Russell and my dad. Top 4 laps to go. Probably the most epic 4 laps I can remember. And Robert Hood on the mic over the top of it. It doesn't get any better than that stuff.
It doesn't, man. It doesn't. Dude, your stuff is antiseptic. I mean, I look at it all the time. I hope I get to come out sometime. And I did get hit up to maybe do some stuff with Willamette, but we'll see how that all turns out. And but man, I'd love to see you and come hang out one night and watch you operate. I think that'd be cool as hell.
Absolutely, we'd love to have you around. Just give me a shout out when you got a weekend free, and we'll go racing.
Right on, Matt. Matt Drager, everybody. Be sure you check him out, Matt. Keep doing the good stuff, buddy. Keep doing the good stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
You bet, man. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you later.
Bye-bye. Matt Drager, what a cool cat, man. I'm telling you. Jeremy Means, so good to see you. You need to get a hold of me because I want to get you on so we can find out what's going on at Banks. Monica Sim, what's going on? Brent Endicott, Kimberly Dean. Hey, I just want to thank everybody for coming in. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. A little history from way back with Matt Drager. What an awesome guy. And let me tell you, check out his stuff. I mean, his bodies are dope. I'm just telling you, they are sick. So be sure you check them out. We'll be back Monday night, Late Model Monday. I want to tell you this. I know a lot of you might be dirt people, but even most dirt people who have been around the game for a while, if you know this name, Dave Fuge, he is going to be our guest on Monday night. One of the epic car builders of all time here in the Northwest. Dave Fuge is going to be our guest Monday night. So we'll have him for an hour. I'm just so pumped. And other than that, I just want to say, hey, everybody, be safe. This stuff is real. Take it seriously. And I just hope everybody stays safe. And I just got to tell you, I thank you so much for your wonderful support and love and shout-outs and supporting the show. I mean, it really does mean a whole lot to me, a whole lot. More, especially now, more than you know. So if you want to help out the show, give us a holler. We'll work something out. We'll get you a good deal. Otherwise, man, keep tuning in. Keep doing the love. And, hey, love one another. Be positive. Keep it real. We'll get through this. I love you guys. Peace. Have a good one. Well, another show in the books. You are the reason we're here. We hope you'll tune in next week for another Winnig Wednesday here on the Northwest Race Report.
Lippy here. If you like tonight's show or any of our shows, please like and share on Facebook. And don't forget to stop by TerryBridgesRacing.com. Subscribe so you don't miss any of our shows.
What's up, race fans? This is the real deal, Chris Kidd, and you're listening to the Northwest Race Report.